Last time, we saw Turles finally encounter Frieza, being the first Saiyan to do so. It seems both of them are far stronger than each other expected, so how's that encounter gonna go? We'll be covering all that and more in the 7th part of What If the Saiyans Were Good. Frieza's pretty curious. What is this form Turles is showing? This is definitely new. He's only ever seen Saiyans become great apes. Well, Turles could say the same thing for Frieza. He's never seen anything like this before. Frieza asks outright, is he the Super Saiyan of legend? Turles says he definitely is not. Great. Frieza has no reason to be worried then. He honestly doesn't know what to expect from the Super Saiyan, but if this isn't that, then this definitely isn't a legend. Turles begs to differ though. This is still legendary, just in a different way. The two begin their battle, Golden Frieza versus Evil Saiyan Turles. Of course, it's a pretty explosive fight, and pretty much everything around them is destroyed immediately. But far away all across the galaxy, Vegeta's crew is all together of course, and they sense something strange going on. Why could they feel this all the way out here? Whatever they're sensing definitely isn't close, but it's also definitely really powerful. And that gets them concerned too because they can't tell whose ki that is that's fighting. The last time they saw Frieza they weren't able to sense ki, so they don't know what Frieza's ki feels like. Although this ki kind of feels similar to King Cold and it's definitely really evil. Also much higher than King Cold's ever was. But it's not just that power they're sensing. They assume that first one is Frieza. The second one feels completely different. It's something unrecognizable. There's some sort of other enemy out there. Someone who's strong enough to fight Frieza even with Frieza's new level of power. This is concerning for a few reasons. There's an unknown enemy out there who has a gripe with Frieza, and maybe he's related to the Saiyans somehow, or even has a gripe with them too. But as for Frieza, they can feel his power and it's really high. Even with all their power combined at the moment, that definitely wouldn't be enough to fight Frieza as he is now. They really need to kick things into high gear. And whatever's going on out there, they hope it's going to work in their favor. They don't know who Frieza's fighting, but hopefully they win. The enemy of their enemy is their friend, even though they don't know Turles is actually a Saiyan like them. The fight rages on. Frieza's pretty surprised to see a Saiyan this strong. Especially after getting this strong in his golden form, he thought no one would be able to defeat him. But this guy's contending with him really easily. Plus, unlike normal Saiyans, Turles is actually able to fight out in space. Seems like a good side effect of this form. This allows him to fight Frieza on a much larger scale, and also lets him avoid being killed if the planet's destroyed. But as the fight continues to rage on, Frieza loses power. He doesn't have full control over his golden form yet, and Turles actually does have an edge in terms of raw strength, much to Frieza's surprise. He doesn't know what this Saiyan did to get that strong, and he's never seen anything like this power before. But Turles finishes off the fight, penetrating a hand through Frieza's chest, and launching a powerful blast through it, leaving him floating out there in the vacuum of space. Frieza powers down into his regular final form, floating there seemingly lifeless. Good, that's one less loose end. Turles still has a lot more to accomplish, but it's nice that he got to fight Frieza. He didn't think he would be that powerful, but it's just a testament to how strong his evil Saiyan form is too. And even without having his whole squad anymore, it's fine. Turles can make do. He leaves Frieza floating out there in space, and then goes towards his ship. This doesn't seem to be his main ship, but he takes it back to Frieza's main base, locating that, and then raiding it for all the info he can get. He doesn't actually kill a lot of the soldiers, especially because a lot of them evacuate before Turles even gets there. But Frieza's dealt with, and all he wants is the info that Frieza has. And Frieza does have a lot of historical data on the Saiyans, including Saiyan legends too, which is exactly what he needs. He wants to look more into Saiyan history. He got what he wanted, and then some. But he also needs to find those other Saiyans that are out there. He quite likes this evil side of himself too, being consumed by the power that comes along with it. As for what's going to happen when he meets those Saiyans, well, he doesn't know for sure. Knowing Saiyan history with how the evil Saiyans fought the good Saiyans, they probably will fight. There's no way they're going to be allies. Turles has come to accept that, but it would be nice to have more Saiyans on his side. He does have some other things he needs to do though, although there is still a loose end. Turles didn't kill Frieza. He thought he did. What he doesn't realize is that Frieza is really durable. Frieza is pretty badly injured, and yeah, he powered down, but he didn't die. He's not going to die from this, nor will he bleed out from this. Actually, this injury isn't really that bad considering what we've seen Frieza go through in the main series. But he doesn't have a lot of power left, and he's kind of just stranded there. Thankfully for him, some of his army is still around, and they eventually do locate Frieza. He's alive, not in great condition, but still alive. And unlike what happened after Namek, it's not like he needs a bunch of cybernetic parts. But it is going to take some time for him to heal, especially because they have less resources now. Frieza's army is still active, but at the same time it's slowly crumbling. They've lost King Cold. They've lost a bunch of soldiers. Frieza nearly just died, and if Turles actually stayed around to finish the job, he definitely wouldn't have survived this encounter. If they want to have any hope of winning, things need to change really quickly. Let's go back to our main group of Saiyans. Of course, they sensed this from all the way across the galaxy. The fact that they even felt that is really surprising, and that tells them whoever they're dealing with is way too strong for them. But it seems like whoever was just fighting Frieza killed him, because Frieza's power just disappeared, and the other guy's power was still around. None of the Saiyans has a clue of what they just felt. Bardock's the first to say something. He doesn't know if Frieza was actually defeated. Like, it feels like that, but they can't really trust their ki sense from that far away. He could still be alive, all they know is that Frieza's ki disappeared, the fight could have ended some other way. They really don't know for sure, and they shouldn't take this as a sign that Frieza's actually dead right now. The other Saiyans agree, especially the older ones wanting to be more careful. And they remember what they saw with King Cold too. He was able to really take a beating, so there's no way Frieza was killed just like that. Paragus thinks this isn't a sign that Frieza's dead. They can't take it at face value and believe it. They need to 100% guarantee it and confirm that he really is dead. And of course Vegeta sees another big problem. That other power. They don't know who it was. And it's not like it's easy to narrow it down either because first of all, they don't even know of anyone who would be that strong. And in terms of people who have beef with Frieza, well, a lot of people would. So there's a lot of people with a lot of reasons to kill Frieza. Whoever that was, they're not guaranteed to be a good guy, much less an ally to them. Either way, they need to get moving. They need to figure out how to get stronger, quicker, because in the event that Frieza's still alive, or in the event that enemies are going to come for them, they need to be strong enough to fight. So, what happens after this? Well, time passes. A lot of it actually. Years go by. Everything's pretty much at a stalemate. It's not like Vegeta can make a wish to revive the Saiyans either, because if Frieza still is alive, then that's going to be for nothing. He'll have to get to the other Saiyans later. Granola ends up returning to Cereal too, but tells the Saiyans he's always there if they need his help. He likes working with them, and Vegeta and Tarbo are like brothers to him. So, eternally he will be an ally to them. But for now, at least he can return to his peace. Once the time comes to fight, he'll be there to help. This happens because the Saiyans pretty much have their own permanent place now. There hasn't been any sign of Frieza over these past few years, but he's active again. The army is definitely out there. So the Saiyans found this new planet in a completely different galaxy, and they decided to settle down here for a bit. They still need to find out who fought Frieza though. As for Frieza himself, he's recovered a long time ago. He actually hasn't really trained much, he's purely dedicated himself to finding Turles. But ever since their fight, Turles has been a ghost. He's not even focused on the other Saiyans anymore, it's like he's focused purely on this one thing. But while he's not physically training a lot, mentally he's at least working on his golden form, trying to get better control of that. He feels like that might be why he lost last time, so he's working on it. But it's not like his training in Hell. When Frieza was in Hell in the main story, that's really all he could do, just mental training. Here, Frieza still is running an empire, and he has a lot on his mind, so he's not going to fully master the golden form right away. And it's definitely not going to be easy either. As for the Saiyans, they've all grown significantly too. There's been a lot of training over this time. They've all gone beyond Super Saiyan by now, discovering Super Saiyan 2, and of course perfecting the original Super Saiyan form. A few of them have even gotten access to a brand new form, Super Saiyan 3. And thanks to the Saiyans all having their tails still, besides Paragus and Broly at least, they could utilize Super Saiyan 3 much more easily than normal. And as for Broly, he's kind of gotten a control on his power. He's actually accessed his own Super Saiyan form, which was really tough for them to control, especially because they had to fight Broly in the process, but they've kind of made it work. He's still the strongest of the group by far, but he also has more room to grow, especially because Super Saiyan isn't his ceiling. That's just another stepping stone. Living on this planet, even if it's going to be temporary, has been pretty nice. The chances of them being found by the Frieza Force are incredibly slim, and they basically have this entire solar system to themselves. Which is also great for resources because they could just go to the other planets and get them if they need. As far as they can tell, they're the only intelligent life forms around this area. It's pretty much a dead zone. One day Vegeta tries to survey the area around them more. This will be better for planning. In the event they do have to fight, they want to know everything about the planets around them because that could be used for an ambush, either against them, or they could utilize that in their favor. The Saiyans have considered going back to Earth, but they don't want to draw any attention there. Earth doesn't deserve to have those problems. Maybe they'll return someday though, at least when this war is all over. But Vegeta continues looking around here, just to verify that the planets around them are actually safe and there's no one on them. As the leader, he's also taking initiative, which is why he's going on his own. As far as he could tell, all the planets around them are empty, but on one of the ones he lands on, some thing attacks him. It's not an enemy or anything. He actually doesn't really feel any ki going along with it. But there's a small animal that ends up scratching him. It's some really weird alien animal, but it's an alien, so probably not too weird. He doesn't know what to expect out here. The cut he got isn't that bad, and he just leaves the animal be. But again, just looking at it, something about it's off. Like, it's acting really intelligently, and its eyes look weird. Maybe he's just being paranoid. At the very least, he should disinfect this, so he goes back to his ship, and gets ready to return home. But he starts feeling really weird. Like, it feels like something's crawling around in that cut. What the hell attacked him? Well, that animal was normal, but someone else was controlling it. Little does Vegeta know, for a while, he and the Saiyans were under watch by somebody. Not Frieza, but someone else. And after all this time, the enemy finally had the opportunity to strike. Vegeta returns to the planet, and no one could really see anything weird with him. He's acting normal, but almost a little too normal. And Vegeta's glancing around at everyone, trying to figure out what his next plan is here. What they don't realize is that Vegeta's actually fighting for control right now. He's been taken over by an external parasite. And finally, after all this time, he can get his revenge on the Saiyans. This actually goes pretty far back. Remember in the beginning of the story I mentioned that King Cold would stage wars against other species? While the Saiyans were good, they still did fight a bunch of wars. and one of them was against a group called the Tuffles. That part of Saiyan history is still there. This war actually isn't that old, it was in the same century. Not too long before Planet Vegeta was destroyed, in fact. The Saiyans weren't nearly as ruthless, of course, but King Cold was using them like puppets, essentially. He started a conflict, and it turned into a war between the two species, with the Saiyans ending up winning that war. But there was still one survivor of the Tuffles, rather, a contingency plan that was mechanically engineered. A project called Baby, the last remain of the Tuffles. Unbeknownst to the Saiyans, he's been stalking them for a while, and he wanted to possess one of them somehow. Thankfully, he got his chance, and he took over Vegeta's body. He could never fight Vegeta directly, so what he did is follow him to this planet, then taking over another animal on the planet and scratching Vegeta that way, then entering Vegeta's body through the cut and taking over. Baby was able to take full control of Vegeta, which is why he looks normal now. He's completely suppressed, and he's merged with his body fully. Right now, he's just trying to figure out what he could do against the Saiyans. What is the best way to strike back against them? He needs to learn even more about them, and then work on a good strategy. He can't reveal his hand just yet, but he can start infecting others pretty soon. And once he does so, he'll get much stronger himself. He'll be able to power this body up even further, and then he'll get rid of every last Saiyan. At long last, the Tuffles will finally get their revenge, using Vegeta as their own weapon no less. It's kind of ironic, the Saiyan Prince being the thing to finally destroy them after so long. As for what else is out there, he's not sure. Baby knows nothing about Frieza or Turles or anything like that. As far as he knows, this is the only group of Saiyans out there, and he just wants to get rid of them. Sort of like Frieza, but for different reasons, and with a much different method. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What did you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help with the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.